Marston's Domain.
Hey everyone, Marson here, and today I want to talk about Splatoon 2 because the test fire just recently happened and a lot of people got to play it, including myself, and I want to get my thoughts on it and my thoughts on Splatoon 2 in general. So with the test fire, I thought it was fun. I really had no complaints. The connections all seemed good, the gameplay was there, the graphics looked great, there was no slowdown, everything seemed fine and flawless. I have heard that some people had connection issues and stuff like that. I didn't run into that. But overall, I thought the test fire was fine. However, I did notice that unlike the first test fire, I didn't really have much drive to try the other times for the test fire. I did maybe one or two test fires and then I kind of had enough. And I heard similar things from other people too, that it didn't have the same kick as the first time with the first test fire for Splatoon 1. When people started saying that, they started to say, it doesn't really feel like a sequel, it just feels like Splatoon 1. And that's what I wanted to lead into with this video mainly, is that it bothers me that people jumped so quickly on to the whole, like, it doesn't feel like Splatoon 2 kind of thing, just feels like an enhanced Splatoon 1. Because for me, the reason why I didn't really feel like trying the test fires much after the first couple times was that I already know the game. When Splatoon 1 was coming out and they had the test fire, it was a brand new IP. None of us had played it, so it was a fun experience. But owning Splatoon 1, I'm aware of that. You get stuff for winning games, there's things to unlock, there's XP to get, to level up, there's things to go for when you play online. The test fire has none of that, obviously, because it's just a test fire. But knowing this from Splatoon 1, people need to realize this really was just pretty much a beta test. For Nintendo's side, I'm pretty sure they just wanted to test connections. I'm pretty sure that's why they had it. They wanted to see if there was any issues with connectivity and probably just the game in general, but I think it was more or less for connectivity issues. So you're not going to be getting all the stuff that's in Splatoon 1 in this test fire. And the reason why, in general, it bothers me to hear stuff like, oh, well, this doesn't feel like a sequel, is that I don't get why Nintendo specifically gets so much hate on stuff like this. Whenever Nintendo does something, anything remotely similar to other companies, they just get a bunch of hate for it. And I don't really understand why. Example being DLC for Zelda. People are really mad at that. And it's like, well, other companies have been doing this forever and making a ton of money. Nintendo, at the end of the day, is still a business. They want to make money. So of course they're going to end up needing to do something like that. And they did, and I'm sure they're making a ton of money on it, and it's not even really out yet. So with Splatoon, the reason why I brought that up is because with Splatoon, Call of Duty has been basically the same game for years now. I don't play it, so I'm not going to sit here and say I know for a fact it's the same, but I've played a couple of them, and I've heard from multiple people, and just critics in general, that the game is pretty much the same. But people still love it, and that's fine. But Splatoon 2 coming out, it's like, oh, it doesn't feel like a sequel. Well, what is all the Call of Duties that come out? They don't really seem like sequels to me, but people still love them, and they still buy them, and they still sell a ton. So who cares? Nintendo is going to do things differently. They're not going to be the same Nintendo that they were before. They are starting to change with the times, and I feel like people are just not happy with that. But Nintendo can't just keep drastically changing stuff just to be Nintendo. They drastically changed the game by making a game like Splatoon in the first place. It totally changed what we look at as a shooter now. That game is insanely unique. So they try to make a sequel and it's, oh, well, it doesn't feel like Splatoon 2, it's just an enhanced port. It's like, we don't even have the game yet. I'm sure there's more game modes. We already know there's going to be a whole new single-player campaign. And who knows what else is in store with that game. We literally have no idea yet. People were already judging it just from the trailer alone. And now with the test fire, which is basically just a beta test, people are already judging it, saying it doesn't feel like a sequel, it just feels like an enhanced port. It's just a demo. It's way too early to judge that. And even if it doesn't have a million things different from Splatoon 1, who cares? Like I said, other games have been doing it forever. Gears of War was one of my favorite shooters of all time, if not still my favorite. And when I got the second one, it essentially was the same game. If you want to look at it from a basic standpoint, it still had the shotgun, which you could still just run up and shoot people with and just get an insta-kill, especially if you had a active reload shot. I haven't played the game in years, so sorry if I'm getting some of this wrong, but it had a lot of similarities, but the campaign was completely new, had a whole new story. The online had new modes, and it had new weapons. That's what Splatoon has. So if you look at it from the standpoint of it still has A and B being it's a gun game and it still has the same guns, without looking at the fact of, I guess, C and D, which would be new weapons and new game modes, it's just not fair. You have to look at C and D. You have to look at the fact that there's going to be new game modes and new weapons. That's what you do with a sequel. What else are they going to do? That's what bothers me. It's like, well, what else would they do? If they drastically changed the game, people might not like it. What if they changed it to where it was like, you're all underwater now and all you do is swim and you shoot streams of ink at people? It's like, the game is what it is. It's already unique. It doesn't need to be changed. What needs to be changed is the variety. That's what the sequel does. The sequel adds variety. So I think that it's worthy of being called Splatoon 2. I think people need to stop being so harsh on it. I'm sure we're all going to get the game. I'm sure we're all going to enjoy it. I'm sure it's going to have a ton of content. I'm not worried about it at all. And that's all I really have to say about this topic. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about all this. And until next time, I'll see y'all later. Take care, everyone.